Well, good morning, wherever you are. Here where we are in the US, it is morning, and it is the morning of the spring equinox 2022, which will take place here in about 32 minutes. So the timing for our program is right on, and we'll actually be able to be together as the equinox happens. So I'm going to call in a little bit of sacred space. Of course, anytime we're together and we meet, we are in sacred space. This is just to make it known that when we gather, we are in sacred space. And so I ask the elements to join us: earth, air, fire, water, and of course, spirit, the umbrella over all of the elements. And I ask too that in this sacred space, we request and ask humbly for peace in our world, for the turning of hearts from evil, from lack of compassion, from unkindness. May their hearts turn to become more loving, more accepting. May we be the peace that we wish to have in our world. You know, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And as we go through this beautiful time of the year, the equinox and springtime, may we find rebirth for ourselves and for others into a world that we cherish. And may we add to the sacredness of every day with our love and our gratitude for all that is ours. And I ask that we individually ask for peace on earth. If anyone has anything they'd like to add, please do that.
I can.
And so, Nancy, did you want to say something?
I can add to that.
Please.
From the meta prayer, may all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be safe and well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy and free. May families be united. Blessed be.
Thank you, Nancy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we have a chat. And so it is blessed be from Angelina. As we say, aho and I'll win. Beautiful. So I'm probably preaching to the choir, but I would be remiss if I didn't share what this equinox is about. So it's thought to represent the struggle between darkness and light and life and death. It occurs when there is equal daylight and nighttime. But this is a really joyful time of the year. And we often think about it in terms of rebirth. The earth is coming alive again, and perhaps we feel like we are rebirthing ourselves. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we might do that as we go through this time together. So, you know, the dark months are over, and we're kind of waking up, you know. The East for us in our belief system is fire. And that fire is warming the earth, it's warming us. And it has the power to wake us up, like we're coming up from the earth, from the darkness as well. The interesting thing about this time of year for me is that it's not really necessarily warm yet. And we may have some days that are chilly and perhaps even cold. We had that last week. So we're kind of still in that in between. And we're reaching for the sunlight. And still there are times that we feel we may be still in going inward, in hibernation. And so to be real gentle with ourselves as we move back and forth in this time. And just notice that you may be moving one way or the other. Some days you may feel joyous and spring-like and you want to hop around like a bunny, and other days you may want to retreat into yourself, and that's fine. We're talking about this inner to outer shifting. And I was just saying that, we're going back and forth, and sometimes it may feel like you're just a little off balance. And this implementing change is required to grow and flourish. So late winter, early spring, there's this equilibrium shift. And me personally, I have vertigo. And so I am really feeling this shifting back and forth. The spring equinox brings us into balance because we have equality of day and night, light and dark. And hopefully this will help each of you to find that balance for yourself and know that we are gradually moving into the growing season, and things are to be, you probably have already seen, some of you have probably already seen flowers poking up, and just some color being added to your world. I don't know how it is in Italy and Sweden. Kia's nodding her head. Is it starting to flourish there, Kia? Yeah, a little bit. See little growth, huh? That's wonderful. So let's just take a minute here. Oh, good. I think we have a message from Angelina. Flowers are coming out, daffodils, hyacinths, snowdrops, etc. Very sweet. Very nice. Thanks, Angelina. So take just a minute and consider your inner and outer shift, going from the hibernation of wintertime into sort of coming out, growing, turning your face to the sun. So take just a minute and consider your shift and what you might do to augment that shift. What is something that you can add to your life today that will help you bridge that gap, so to speak? So take just a minute and think about it. And then if you'd like to share, that would be great. Anybody have anything?
I think much about to be out as much as I can when it's sunny, to sun gaze and get energy from the sun, and also only to be in nature and see all the things that are changing. that makes me shift too. And I went to put my seeds in the ground.
Lovely. Angelina says spend more time outside in nature and to attune to Mother Gaia and be energized by her. Awesome. Very sweet, sweet, sweet. I like to take all my dark winter clothes and put them away and bring out all the light colors and the light fabrics.
I'm trying to stop it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Nancy. Nancy has 2 adorable pups that can raise the roof now and then. Anybody else have any thoughts about shifting from inner to outer focus? For me, I think now that a little bit of COVID has lifted, to spend more time with friends, perhaps a picnic, doing something out of doors that I guess something that brings about more laughter and more joy, maybe taking some outdoor games and going on a picnic with friends. I think that would be my idea of going from an inner to outer focus. Anybody else? Okay. So this Equinox business really started as a pagan rite. So known as Alban Elir to more modern Druid traditions. The holiday is the second of 3 spring celebrations, the midpoint between Imbolc and Beltane, during which light and darkness are again in balance with light on the rise. So at Imbolc, we begin to plant the seeds of what we want to grow in the growing season. And at Beltane, we celebrate the fertility of Mother Earth, the fertility of woman, and we're symbolized with an egg. So Ostara, and that's what it was originally called this time of year, is personified by the goddess who represents the dawn, the coming of new light and rebirth through many of the rituals, decorations, and gifts that we're familiar with to this day. So it's kind of interesting that the things that we have adopted, like Easter eggs and rabbits and baskets and sweet things, were adopted from pagan rituals by Christianity, by the Christians. And that has somehow morphed into Easter. So if we're doing all of these decorative things, we are to some degree honoring pagan ritual. And we're really connected more to earth and nature in forms like Ostara, who became a deity. And that's beautiful traditions coming together, maybe not giving credit to the source, but at least honoring the different ways that this time of year is celebrated. So I love this little story. The origin of the Easter bunny. The tale is that Ostara, the ancient Germanic goddess of the spring, transformed a bird into a hare, and the hare responded by laying colored eggs for her festival. So a sweet legend, something to play with. And so Persephone comes into this time of year as well, because she is a goddess of fertility. And she can actually manipulate fertility. So She is considered to be able to manage animal fertility, plant fertility, and she is just a powerful, powerful, significant force at this time of year. All right, whoops, going the wrong way. A legend about Persephone. Plutarch writes that Persephone was identified with the spring season, and Cicero calls her the seed of the fruits of the fields. In the Eleusinian mysteries, her return from the underworld each spring is a symbol of immortality, and hence she was frequently represented on sarcophagi. So those are boxes for burial that are made of limestone, and that particular limestone enabled bodies to decompose more quickly. So again, another way of looking at spring and considering the goddess of immortality. So this is a time when the earth is regenerating. And I'm going to get up on a soapbox a little bit because I want to share with you something that's happening in our world, and it's happening quickly and frighteningly. And that is the soil in our earth is not being treated in a way that will allow crops to continue to grow in time and not in the too far distant future. Our soil is going to be so corrupted that food will continue to be in short supply. So what I want to do is I want to share a little 8-minute video with you about saving the soil. Any of you who, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Sadhguru. He's just an amazing man who has taken on this cause, if you will. And so I'm going to stop share and pull up this video, because I think at this time of year when we're honoring Earth, we're honoring rebirth, we're honoring the growth of the new, it is absolutely critical that we help our mother, that we help Pachamama to continue to thrive. And wherever you are, you can share some of this information. So I'm going to share the screen and see if we can get this little video up. Bear with me just a second. Save.
Imagine the country you live in being hit by less and less fertile soil, crop growing increasingly difficult.
Sandstorm conditions prevail in the Indian capital, and now there are fears of early desertification of the region.
Desertification and erosion are both concerns.
Soil is the habitat upon which zillions of lives thrive. Because of that thriving
Can you
life,
see this okay,
everything
everyone?
grows. We eat food, other animals grow, everything happens because soil is rich. Once there is no richness in soil, then you have forsaken the planet in many ways. We talk of carbon, we talk of emissions, we talk of pollution at various levels. Before all that, we need to address the most important concern, because there is a misunderstanding in the world. There is a campaign to project civic issues as environmental issues. Right now, if plastic bags are floating around in New York City, this is not an ecological issue, this is a civic issue. If our rivers are polluted, this can be fixed. In 1 or 2 years, if you set up the necessary purification plants and enforce the law, these are civic issues which can be fixed with a little bit of law enforcement and awareness. But the real issue is soil. The United Nations agencies with enough scientific data, they're clearly saying that we have soil, agricultural soil for another 80 to 100 crops on the planet. This is 45 to 60 years is what we have agricultural soil. We are calling this as soil extinction. You've heard of dinosaurs going extinct, you have heard of dodos going extinct, but this is soil extinction is what we are looking at. The real problem is soil extinction because in the last 30 years, 80% of the biomass insects have disappeared from the planet, 80%. This is a suicide, this is a real suicide. So in 45 years' time or 50 years' time, there will be serious food crisis on the planet, it's inevitable. When food crisis comes, well, whoever has the biggest guns will come and take the food. And the chaos and the suffering that we will create for populations around the world is unimaginable. Don't think only the poor people will die. They will kill the rich and rich will die. So this is not to paint a dark picture. This is a reality which has happened many times in our history, and once again it is being predicted by top scientists in the world. So what are we going to do? Why is soil going away? Where is it going away? See, what is sand becomes soil if you add organic content to it. What is soil becomes sand if you take away all the organic content from it. If you go into a rainforest, the organic content in the soil will be over 70%. In normal agricultural soil, the minimum organic content that has to be there to call soil soil is 3 to 6%. 3% is the most minimum. But today, for example, in India, 62% of India's soil, the organic content is 0.5% or below that. So literally we are on the verge of desertification. This is across the world, this is not in one country. In United States, the way the land has been used in terms of herbicides, weedicides, pesticides, well, we need to understand nearly 82 to 86% of biodiversity is within the first 12 inches of topsoil. When we plow with machines like tractors plow to a depth of 9 to 12 inches and leave it open, this means we are destroying the biodiversity completely. What biodiversity means is, it's the humus in the soil. The word human comes from the word humus. That means this is actually living soil. So it's very, very important that soil becomes the focus, because if you put 1/3 to 40% of the land, especially in the tropical world, under tree shade, your climate change could be easily reversed. Land is getting hot simply because it is plowed or it is paved. Land has to go under vegetation, whatever kind, natural grasses, bushes, trees, whatever, because all these are serving the ecological activity. And we must also understand soil is a very significant carbon sink, and soil is the largest water soak on the planet. And soil is the basis of all life. This 36 to 39 inches of topsoil on average around the planet is the basis of 87% of life on this planet. To keep the biodiversity alive is the most important thing that we need to do right now. Unless we start now, this will not happen. As a part of this, we are unfolding a movement called Conscious Planet to bring maximum number of people. Right now, it looks like climate change, ecology, all these are playground for the rich and elite. No, this must change. Individual human beings should become conscious about the danger that we are facing. Ecological issues must become election issues, and political parties must give significance to ecological issues in their manifestos. Governments must be elected for their concern for ecological issues. This needs to happen. So we are seeing how to bring about a policy recommendation for 192 countries. The rally is starting on 21st of March, which is the Equinox day in London. And from London, it's a single lone motorcycle riding through 24 countries, 30,000 kilometers, reaching the Kaveri Basin where we are on ground working in a river basin which is 83,000 square kilometers, and 5.2 million foreigners work here. The very body that we carry is soil. Without soil being rich and well, this body and every other life cannot be well. So in terms of ecology, in terms of climate change, the most important thing is that we need to have a conscious approach as to how we manage our soil, how we rejuvenate our soil, how we revitalize our soil. This conscious approach and creating a conscious planet is what is most important. Without involving large mass of people, this will not become a reality because we are democratic nations. Unless people say this is what they want, that is not going to happen. So let's create a conscious planet. Let us make it happen.
I'd like to hear from you all. How did that video affect you? What are some of your thoughts? So Angelina wrote that I'm in tears. It makes me feel so sad what we have done to our earth.
This year I have been starting to produce new soil. I'm using bokashi as one way. And I think that everyone, and I'm talking to people of course, but I think you need to start with me, and me, and me, and me. Everyone needs to start. It's not the government's fault, everything, but something is. But we can do anyway, I think.
Whatever we can do, yes.
Mm.
Yes. Now, many of us who live in the city, there's not a lot of land around us. My business partner, Judy Keating, has contacted Stacey Abrams, who is an activist here in Georgia, and asked her to make Georgia an example by having farmers do work to recreate their soil, to heal their soil. So I thought that was a huge move on her part to do that. So we have a couple of chats. Angelina said, we need to return to harmony with the earth like our ancestors were. Respect it and love it and not take it for granted. Each of us people need to be re-educated about this and how to live in harmony with the earth. How do we do that? Virginia, you look like you're ready to say something.
Oh dear, but what to say? You know, I live in community, and a community that's very keen about ecological matters. We have a, you know, we have an ecology committee, part of our living together. But I have to say that that film was yet a jump from all the ecological films I have seen, and I have seen a lot. Of course, one of my heroes in life is Jackson, right? His last name. The guy who does the prairie grass, and I've always thought that that was on the right track. And Matthew Fox, and yet this film was yet more focused and much more clear. We have a man as part of my community here who's always been talking here about the soil, and because he was an agronomist, missionary in Congo for years, but it's like it's such a tiny voice. All of it is such a tiny voice in this machine of profit, and that often feels I've lost your screen. I've got this advert for more minutes on my Zoom, so I can't see you, so I kind of lost my train of thought. Anyway, I find this, I will try to get this film shown in my community, but that's a teeny tiny thing. I'm really impressed with what Judy did with contacting Stacy, because she is truly a voice and a power.
Yes.
Yeah. So before, when we were, trying to focus in, how do I get rid of this thing so that I can see you?
So
I have to come back in, I think.
okay, why don't you do that, Virginia? That'd be great.
I did.
Yeah. And
Before we did that, what I was thinking and ruminating on was the way that the world is set up to distract us, and I get distracted, and distraction was the word that was coming up for me, and getting distracted from what is essential and being able to make those constant decisions all day long about what is primary. Yeah.
thank you. That's good points. Very good points. Thanks, Virginia. Lynn Cole has written, the spring equinox 0 point actually is right this minute, right now, 11:33. And she is focusing her intentions on balance and harmony and envisioning bounty and abundance for all earth and humanity. Beautiful, and thank you so much for that. Here's what I want to say about Save Soil, and then we'll continue moving on. You all can do something. You can share this information in your community. You can get the word out. So even if you do not have soil that you're dealing with individually, take this to your representatives, take it to your senators, take it to your agricultural leaders in your state, in your county. Share. And that will begin to make the difference. If we can spread this word all over the country and the world, we'll be on our way.
The other very powerful point that was made was stated it's an ecological issue, but it's also an election issue. And Monsanto is a huge, extremely powerful company. And until we start throwing our weight around and electing the people that are going to stand up to them, they're going to continue on. So that is educating ourselves and who is going to support the Save Soil, like Stacy Abrams.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you. Beautifully said. All right, we're going to go back and catch up with where we were. Okay, Save Soil. It is just such a moving issue. When you think about our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, those who will inherit the earth. We have another, Angelina, we can support our local farmers and buy from them instead of big chain stores and supermarkets. Awesome. Yeah. Great, Angelina. All right, so see if I can get us moving again. So we're going to look at spring from an elemental perspective. So we're going to balance Earth, and how we balance our Earth within ourselves is a balance between rest and activity. So knowing when it's time to stop, it's a good lesson for me, knowing when it's time to stop and rest, and when it's time to get going again. And honoring cycles of work and play. How many of us really play? It is such an important part of our health, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, to play. And noting the points on the wheel of the year, I'm here to do the equinoxes, the solstices, the cross-quarter days, but noting the wheel of the year and moving with Mother Earth in how she is going through the wheel of the year, and nurture your body and soul. So I'm gonna just give you some questions to ask yourself. What will you do to help Mother Earth this spring, equinox? And we've kind of talked about that. She's so bounteous. She gives us so many gifts. And what do we give back? That's a question you can ask yourself. Now, the water within you, that's your emotional realm. That's what you're feeling. So we have come through a very challenging time with COVID, with what's happening in the world. And some of us may have frozen emotions inside. And it's time to melt them. What will you thaw within you so that you might manifest in the world? Think about it. Just let's take a minute right now. Is there a frozen emotion within you? Are you angry? Are you resentful? Is something locked up inside? And take a moment. Think about what that is and make a promise to yourself that when we complete this call, you will sit with whatever is frozen and allow it to thaw. And again, water teaches us to play. So take time to play. And then continue to learn about ebb and flow within your life. You know, sometimes everything is going to flow beautifully. Things will fall into place magically. And sometimes they all reverse. So the ability, that flexibility of water to ebb and flow, such a great thing for us to learn for ourselves. Instead of damming up our water and not letting it move, just let it shift within you. Balancing air. This is a great time to review your intentions and your goals. You know, springtime, what is it I'm intending for the growing season that's coming? And I've often talked about the difference between an intention and a goal. This is just my take on it. A goal is something that's very finite. You might have a goal to lose 20 pounds, or you might have a goal to make a certain income. It's a definite place that you either get to or you don't. And to me, in my frame of reference, that locks me in, and it doesn't give me play. It doesn't give me room to move whereas an intention has a lot more give to it. So if my intention is to do as well as I can on a food plan, that gives me a way to not win or lose, to succeed or fail. That really traps us, that idea of our goal. And if we don't make the goal, we kind of beat up on ourselves, don't we? And this way, if you have an intention, you've given yourself space. The other thing in air is to use both your imagination and logic. So to not just be in your head with facts and figures, but to let your imagination run wild. And that's how some of our greatest inventions have come into being. So air is the mental realm. It's all about your thoughts. So what is one beautiful thought that you can carry forward and share with others this spring equinox? So I want to open up the mic for that. And tell me, what is one beautiful thought that you can carry forward that you want to share with others? I know you got them. Don't be shy. Joy.
Of this time of year as a time where things are just starting to, the buds are just starting to show. So it's a time of anticipation and a time of seeing what you haven't seen in months, and that it's a lot of stuff stirring up below the surface that we can't see, and that's just going to burst into bloom in a matter of days. So it's anticipation, but it's also just believing in the magic that's coming.
Nice. Magic is coming. It's wonderful. Okay, we've got a chat from Angelina. Have gratitude every day for every blessing, big and small. Beautiful. Thanks, Angelina. Who else? I guess I have to say mine is about peace and love. And I often quote my coach, who says, "What would love do now?" And that's how I feel about spring. It's a time to act from love. What would love do now? When you think about that saying, does it not bring a certain level of and peace, and takes your mind from the everyday into a higher plane? At least it does for me. Anybody else have a beautiful thought?
I have something I'm thinking of as affirmations,
Great.
and that is, I am open to magic and mystery. I am open to wonder and awe in the world.
Fabulous. It definitely made me smile. I see a lot of other smiles too. So thank you for that. Okay, moving on to fire.
I have one, actually,
Oh.
it came to me now.
Great.
We are feeded with so much information, and still there is things we don't know. So I think there are more to find. There are more than this we see. That's my thought.
Yes, 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 yes. Especially at this time of year, things are going on underground that we don't have a clue about. And then boom, here they are. That's awesome, Kia, thanks. And Angelina agrees. And I think she loves what's coming forward from everyone. All right. So this is a time of fire. And how do you balance fire? Well, we can go and go and go until we burn out, or we can let our fire rest so that when it comes back strong. If you keep burning and burning and burning, what's going to happen? It's all going to burn away. So we balance fire too by honoring the daytime and the nighttime and allowing the darkness to feed us, that we not fear the night, but cherish it for the growth that can go on in the dark, both physical and emotional. And the other thing about balancing fire, it's wonderful to have your full chi, your full energy running in your body, but not letting it run you and not letting it run you down. We kind of wake up in spring and it's all very exciting. We don't want to let all that energy burn out before growing season, because we're going to need it. We're going to need that to help what we're growing, whether it's a project, whether it's a garden. We're going to need that fire within. So we want to nurture it, just like we nurture Mother Earth. We want to nurture our fire. So my question is, what is your passion for spring and how would you express it? Any quick thoughts on that? What is your passion? What are you excited about? I have to share mine because it's popping out. I'm having my 75th birthday next month. And my passion is to show that aging does not have to stop you from your growth. That as we age, we can continue to be vibrant and make things happen in our lives. And when I think back to what 75 represented 20 years ago or 30 years ago, we're so different than our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents. So I'm passionate about letting women know how much there is, even in later years. So Angelina wrote, wow, amazing, Bonnie, you look amazing, very inspiring. Thank you, Angelina. Some days I feel my age, other days not so much, but thank you very much. Anybody else have passion for spring? What's going on?
Spring cleaning time.
Okay, Joy.
It's a time to let go of the things that no longer serve you and give them to someone where they might enjoy what you no longer need, and clean those corners and get rid of the cobwebs and lighten up the burden of stuff and just move forward and move on instead of having that big to-do list all the time. So I think it's very refreshing to just revisit a little bit of all of your drawers and all of your closets and whatever this time of year.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Joy. Anybody else? Anybody planting a garden of any kind? Is that a yes, Andrea?
Yes, I've been digging up lily bulbs because they've now put out these trees. They're like 6-7 feet tall. They're huge lilies. And they've become big mounds of bulbs. They're propagating themselves. So I actually had the force of will to go out there and dig up a big, huge mass of lily bulbs and disperse it around my garden. And I do feel passionate about my garden. And speaking of the soil thing, I'm on property that's had a house on it for over 100 years, and the soil is dead. It's just dust. And so I keep adding to the soil, what they call soil conditioners, in order to bring life back in. And it's been 5 years and it's just beginning to happen. Yeah.
That's awesome. I can feel your passion. Beautiful, beautiful. Angelina wrote diet and exercise and decluttering for me too. So yeah, beautiful. Thank you all. Those are super. Got me charged up. Okay. And then finally, balancing spirit. So how do you embody spirit and practice your spirituality? And what is one spiritual practice you will emphasize this equinox? I think, what Zandria was saying about nurturing the earth is such a beautiful connection to spirit. So thank you for that. Anybody else have a practice that would help them emphasize their spirituality? Yeah.
I was with some ladies here and also men. We had a ceremony over singing over water, and so I have now a song I can sing, and I sing it whenever I just remember, okay, here's water. I sing this when cleaning or cleaning me, or even if I see drops outside. And it's so easy. It is just like your lullaby.
Oh, sweet. Sweet, sweet. Angelina says communing with nature. Beautiful. I like to find some lovable quality in each person I meet, something really special about them that no one else has, and to elevate that. And also gratitude for everything. If we took the time to express gratitude for everything in our lives, we would have no time for anything else. We wouldn't have time for worry. We wouldn't have time for stress. Wouldn't have time for anger. Just to constantly be in gratitude. Anybody else? Okay. So here's the spring ritual. And you can find this on magicalspot.com, MAGICKAL magical with a K, spot.com. And it talks about getting a pot and a flower bulb and prepare a glass of wine or herbal tea, establish your intention for the year to come, take 3 sips of wine or red herbal tea and repeat your name, date of birth, and intention with a sip. Strongly rub your hands together, place the flower bulb and place it on the forehead, heart, and belly. Ask for help in realizing your intention. Plant your bulb in the earth. Water it with water and a little red wine or herbal tea. Give thanks with gratitude and a bow. And there you are. The color of the flower can be adapted to the type of intention. So love, pink or red, spiritual purple, money green, study or travel light blue, and a child white. So that's just one, and there's so many on the internet that you can find. Angelina has said, yes, Bonnie, I agree. We live in a world that forgets to express gratitude. We become used to complaining and judging. Oh, yes, definitely, yes. So anyway, this is magicalspot.com. If you want to see this particular ritual.
Pretty
So,
lovely picture.
to sign up for all of our goodies, if you haven't signed up already, go to wisetransformation.com with my partner, Judy Keating, and some amazing women in the community, like Joy Ferguson, who's online with us. So many wonderful things are happening in our community. So make sure that you sign up. It will keep you abreast of all the events that are coming. Joy, would you like to just briefly speak into what might be coming in 2023?
Well, I am assisting with a gathering that we are planning to have consistently about every other year. And it has been called a variety of different names. The Galactic Gathering of Wise Women is what it was last called, and we're revisiting the name. But my goal is to open up the concept to more and more people so that we have a little bit more variety, a little bit more interaction, a little bit more hands-on, and to really have, I'm trying to think of the way to word it, a divine gathering of people who are both priestess oriented as well as people that support that concept, so that we all continue to move and grow, and that we support the original concept in Nicole Christine, and that we all have our mystery schools and we all have things to bring to the table and to share and to learn from. So that's the overall concept of what we are doing next year.
So this will be a live event at a resort, and we'll have all your meals and whatever included, all of the workshops, and some amazing talent coming to speak and share their wisdom. We have so many beautiful thought leaders in the female population. We really want to bring them all together to share their wisdom. So
Bonnie and Joy, same place?
no, well, we don't know yet.
Got it.
We're looking at other locations. We may wind up coming back to Unicoi because they've been very good to us. There's much more information to come, but just to kind of tease you a little bit. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody could come over from Sweden and somebody come over from Italy. So Angelina thanks us and she enjoyed it. Much love to you all. I need to leave. Happy spring equinox to all. So yeah. So are there any closing thoughts that you'd like to share? What's something you're taking away from today?
Bloom where you are planted.
Nice, 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 nice. Oops. Anybody else have a closing thought?
Happy, happy, joy, joy.
Love it. Thank you. Wishing everyone a joyous equinox. Virginia says gratitude. Thank you all for the blessing and the privilege of the time that you have shared. So I wish you all the best. Be well.
Thank you.
Enjoy springtime.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.
Bye.